So in the last video, I showed how to get this elevation here, but you might run into a situation where you don't have any daylight on one side, and maybe your surface doesn't go all the way over there, but you know it's going to flood over there anyway. So how would you handle that? Or this is how I would handle that. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the right side, and I'm going to go back to the generic and add a link slope for width, or link width and slope. And I'm going to go on the right side, and you want to pick a distance wherever you feel comfortable adding it, but it needs to be within the surface area. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and choose 90 feet. And so it's going to go to the right 90 feet, and I want to go at 0%. I don't want any link codes, so I'm going to go ahead and choose yes to omit that link. And so now if I click on the right hand side, I'm going to have a link or a subassembly with nothing there. And now I want to determine if I'm in cut or fill. If I'm in cut, then I know there's a valid daylight, so I'll go back over here and find that. If there isn't, then I know I just need a way to get back to the center. So to do that, I'll use the conditional cut or fill. And I'm going to go to the left just to highlight that it's going to the left. And so I'm going to have a cut over this way. And then I want one for fill. And I just want to click on that same link slope for width. In my case, Civil 3D may have decided that it wanted to correct my direction, but that should be fine. And so if I'm in fill, meaning that it's above the surface over here, I want to add a link slope or link to marked point. So I'll go to the generic tab and go to link to marked point. And it's going to go find a marked point. And I'm just going to call this FL, or I'm going to call it FLOD. And I'm just going to add it to this location here. And so then that's going to go find the flood marked point. And for my flood marked point, I want to go ahead and add it to my assembly here. So here's my marked point. I'm going to go ahead and select this one here. And I accidentally forgot to give it the code. So I'll go in the assembly properties or the construction, and I'll go ahead and add my flood marked point name. And the marked point needs to be created before the link to marked point. And so I'm just going to right click and move up. And so now I've got the left, I've got centered, which is going to be at the marked point, and then I'm building the link to marked point. So if my subassembly is in fill, it's just going to go find this marked point, which is at the center. So I can see if it's working right now by rebuilding my corridor. And I need to go and set my targets. And so you can see that it's in fill and it's going across and finding it correctly the way I want it to. And then for the other condition is when the surface will be found. And in that case, I want to use that same link slope to surface. And I want to go in the left at 0%. And I'm going to go ahead and select that point. I have it set up so it's not very friendly. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to the left. And so now it's going to go that direction. And then I want to add that link to mark point. And then for the link slope to surface, I want to go ahead and omit that link because I don't want to see it. And so I'll rebuild my corridor. And then, so right now it's the condition that is working. And so I'm just going to go ahead and change this to be 40. So once I rebuild the surface for the EG, so now it should find that location and draw it appropriately once I set my target. And so now my link looks correct. So it's doing the cut because it's finding the location. It's then using the link slope for width to get to this point here. And then it's using the link to mark point to get me back to the center. And so you would just create this subassembly on either side of your corridor.